It is time for more fun with our 100 girlfriends as Shizuka becomes into the fold now, and we will be meeting her and seeing how that relationship is, seeing how she is a character and a person. I'm assuming she's like shy, struggles to make friends, but very, sweet, caring, and kind. There might be more to it, but I'm assuming it's a character type like that. That's kind of the vibe I was getting from her. And there's not too much more for me to go off of or theorize on, I guess, or just to hope for. I'm just hoping that she's fun and enjoyable, which I'm probably sure that she will be, as both of the girls so far already are, and the show's done a pretty good job for that. So hoping for some more fun. If you like it all, like and subscribe to me a lot to me. Feel free to stick out for if you like it all, hit the like and subscribe. Do mean a lot to me. Feel free to stick around for the discussion. Leave any comments though about this specific series. Let's get going though with episode 3. Tiny girl, no friends, big room. Oh, she's delusional. Oh no. Works out though. She meets her prince in this moment. So it fits her fantasy. Felt it. It's the same as I felt back then. Number 3, brother. Oh, this is fun. Keeping his outline like that. Congratulations. The words, come on. Can you speak them? Ah, she can't. She's definitely a mute. Oh no. I think so. Alright, well. Oh, okay, got it. We communicate through the book. No, I don't think that's the case. How does she just know what page everything's on? Funny story, got it. You haven't said a word yet. It is you though, it is you. The physical contact. Uh-oh. What a guy. Nah, I hate happy endings. Fuck that. No, I like where they overcome it and then one person lives and the others die. That's mainly for like action stuff though. That's, romance we can have happy ending. She's very strong. Oh, the size of her. Wait, you got good vision. You can read all that? No, I can't put these on reserve for you. Now she's gotta go put all them back. You can read this one though. Doesn't that go against the rules of the library? Can't just loan things to other people. Oh, it's hers. Okay, we're good. We're good. Is it in the book? Because she can't speak. Oh, she has a card for that. Here's my ID. Okay. Oh, that's fucked up. That's... Actually, yeah, it's early year. Never mind. We're good. We're good. Just wanted to be more skilled with my craft. Well, I'm here messing around. Is she gonna like pull tactics and things out of this book and self-insert with the both of them? This sounds a little different than how your guys' interaction went. Oh my god. I love when we turn like another anime into an entire different one. And they make it look good while they do it. How cute. But not what she wants. And then the obstacles and barriers in the way between their love. Mm. You must work together. Yes. Overcome this. There's more. It's like your situation, yeah. There's nothing you can do to oppose it, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, she brought it for him. She's probably praying that he comes and asks. Well, if that's the case, why don't you take this? I love how all she has is books in the bag as well. Hmm. I like how she never has an original thought come out of her head. So it's just take on from somebody else. And they're completely ignoring him too while he's spending his time with her. Truly special. So she's probably read it so many times that she actually knows. Yeah, that's why she knows everything else. Okay, got it. The way you talk, yeah. Do you guys rewatch the same shows over and over again? I'm assuming you do if you're here watching. I do the same thing though. Don't worry. So low self-esteem, low self-worth. Yeah. Instead, you're putting up with what you're actually. Because she's difficult to talk to. It's not an easy thing to communicate with her. So most people give up extremely early. So he's gonna try and learn it as much as he can too. Something like that. Okay. I'm sure, buddy. She tries so hard, doesn't she? They do a really good job at showcasing that. We bring the third one again. Except he never read 2, did he? He's still focused on 1. My man's gotta learn the ins and outs of it. He's glued to that thing. Uh-oh. With who? With who? I just had some thoughts. He's gonna say something sus here. Oh. Yeah, she does. A ton, actually. This is why we ignore her. He's still being nice to you, though. No, that's not what's happening. Poor girl. We can text each other. Oh, was he testing out? I thought he was going to just be reading the book and figuring out how to communicate through a book like her and then make her feel like she's not the only one. But we can use a phone and use like different text things to be able to make it work. Or it still could be. He could be importing something from the book here. So that she doesn't have to scroll through and she can just type in the pages and go right to it. So he put it all the way. Oh my god. Mm.
テキスト読み上げアプリって知ってる？あらかじめ打ち込んでおいた文字を電子音声で読み上げてくれるアプリなんだ。
It's a little extra. I mean, you could have just had her, you know, text to speech it anyways. But it's sweet. It's the thought. Yeah.
今までの話し方だとさ、吉本さんも話される側も本を見なきゃいけないから、お互いの目を見て話ができなかったんだよね。でもこのアプリを使えば。
It's still not the most efficient rap, but that's alright. That's fine. Right, and that's why everybody who lashes out on you literally can't, and then they get angry at the fact. But he a good dude, so he understands everyone a little different. It's the nicest shit anyone's ever done. But I meant what I said. Respectable. It's because you've built a good connection and she actually likes you, yeah. How you gonna... Oh. How are we gonna add her in though? Very sweet. Okay.
吉本静香ちゃんを新しい彼女として迎え入れさせていただいてもよろしいでしょうか。脳みそ腐ってんのかおめえ。
We barely wanted to. Oh, what a positive outlook. It's just there's a third one though. That's gonna be hard. You have to up the stakes, dude. Alright. That's extreme. The manliest of men. So I promise you this won't hurt. Yes. We're just gonna keep expanding the shapes too. So I think he can actually. There's a couple key things I really want to bring light to, or just at least talk about a little bit. In the space that we kind of occupy here and I talk about as I react to, and everybody here probably enjoys, with what is anime and the different stories that we can be told, it's natural in a way, or it's common amongst people to compare things, right? To see something, see a similarity and make that comparison, whether it's exactly the same or whether it's not. To make that connection in some sort of way is a natural thing for people to do. There's multiple lines that can be kind of crossed. There are ways to look at it too when you kind of go down that route. You can look at it in the route where you're comparing things to, I guess, state as to why one of them is better than another, why something's, you know, good when something else might not be, or use one as an example to kind of just compare it and be like, these have a similarity. So there's multiple ways that you can take it. Often a trap, I guess, that we find ourselves getting into is the idea that we can't compare things to another without kind of putting the other one down, or putting one of them down. Whether I say this is better than this, or I like this more than how this is done, or it's similar how this is done, but this is done in a better way, makes you immediately think it's extremely negative towards the other thing in which that, you know, I'm speaking on, which isn't always the intention for a lot of people. Sometimes it is. Sometimes the intention is to kind of make you realize that something else was just done poorly or isn't good or whatever the case is. But sometimes all you mean to do is say that you just prefer one over the other. You can easily do that. We also find ourselves in a situation where we do this comparison, and sometimes that's not necessary. Sometimes we should just take what it is for what it is without really making that connection. But it's only natural, I would say, for us to make connections to other things and pieces of media and stuff that we've consumed before. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, because you can also understand maybe the influence that was taken from something prior to this that maybe had an effect as to why this is the case. This show in particular is kind of in a weird spot because it takes common tropes from different character types that have been evolved over and over the years, and it really ramps them up to another level, right? So it's a weird situation where you don't have to compare at all, because it's just a combination, I guess, of like all these types of characters that fit into each of these different girls, and it doesn't necessarily have a direct correlation to something, but you can also compare it to characters that you've seen done. You've seen plenty of tsunderes before. You've seen plenty of like just shy girls or mute girls or whatever, right? Like you can compare each of the characters too. And I just wanted to kind of lead with that and point that out, because as I'm going to transition here and make a comparison, just for people to understand, you know, the different ways that that can kind of be taken. My comparison that immediately came to mind when you see something along these lines is there's been plenty of shows before. I haven't seen a ton of them with girls who have struggled like speaking or communicating or whatever the case is. I really haven't. It's not a character type that I gravitate towards or I really care for or I find a lot of interest in. I think the initial setup to some of these things, especially what we did here, is great, and I think that it can work really well, but I find myself getting kind of bored and over the characters like that pretty quick typically. So we'll end up seeing, I guess, what happens here. So my comparison here, what I'm going to say is meant more in the negative way. I want to make that clear. It's not like a up for interpretation, or it doesn't mean that I am, because even though that might not sound relevant after I just brought it all up, I mean it more, and the others are more negative. The immediate two that kind of come to my mind, as I said, I'm not as well versed within this character type because I kind of try to avoid things like it because I don't really like it too much, is Sumi from Rent a Girlfriend being a similar character like this, and Komi from Komi Can't Communicate. I personally don't think either of those characters or the setup or the way that they have been kind of brought to life is and written is good, and I don't think that either of them are characters that I really enjoy or I really care for. My issue with things like that typically fall on the front that I don't find a interest or I don't have a connection to the things that the character is going through. I don't have a care to see that type of person, I guess, really progress themselves, or maybe I do and I just don't see the progression, or I don't see the effort being put forward, and when I do, they play it off in a way that doesn't feel good to me. It just feels dragged out to a certain point that it's like I am not interested in kind of witnessing and watching a story unfold like that. And that's just, you know, my own personal takes and opinions on that. But when it comes to something like this, a character who is set up identical in a way to some of those characters, ones who of course want to communicate and want to be more friendly or want to be better at things. They want to be able to make friends, or they want to be able to have a romantic interest, or they want to not be a burden to others, and all of those things and plenty more. For whatever reason, this one is a lot stronger. It's a lot better. The foundation that we kind of build up, having her talk through this book, showing the flashbacks of her kind of getting bullied and verbally abused and physically, I guess, at one point too, and actually being able to see the hardships and stuff that she's had to overcome doing this, her also becoming pretty content in understanding that others are not going to like her, are going to have problems with her, and she kind of avoids that at all costs. She tries to not get her hopes up or cares, and she just realizes it's okay if I'm lonely at the end of the day, because that's the type of person that I am. People don't want to put up with somebody like me, and they kind of accept it over time. But at the end of the day, it still hurts, right? Still being able to see her completely break down when she finally thought that she had like this glimmer of hope or this person who's a bright spot to her, right? It still hurts when those people attack you, or those people ignore you, or those people give up on you almost. And it bothers her, of course. Of course she wants to speak out, and of course she doesn't want to be like this and be different than everybody else. But whatever that reason is, she absolutely cannot. And I think they present it a beautiful way and actually do a really excellent job. They take a complete turn from how the story's been set up to this point. The comedy was fairly non-existent, I would say. This episode, they had little bits and things brought in with the other two main girls for the most part, but all the things with Shizuka being involved were like little to no comedy, and even the other parts that we brought in with the other characters weren't that funny, or they were just okay for me, right? Like they weren't needed though, because the episode wasn't supposed to be taken more so that way, in my opinion. I think that the way that they did present it was excellent. It shows that this story is capable of kind of reaching in and doing a little bit more than just being straight like parody, straight comedy, straight whatever it wants to be there. It also can dig into these other moments if needed to be, and I think that's excellent to make you really attached or care for characters and want to root for a certain one, right? And grow this extra attachment because you have this extra backstory and these things that we weren't able to really get from our main two that we've been dealing with for 2 episodes now. So being able to actually build a strong foundation off of something like this with another is a really, really excellent and fun thing, and I really appreciate that, because sometimes you find shows getting stuck in their own way of trying to introduce more characters like this and do everything in a comedy way, and then it just doesn't work, because at a certain point you kind of need a change of pace or something that's a bit more of a breath of fresh air. And to introduce something so early into the story here, which I assume is a very early chapter into it as well, is kind of a bold risk in my opinion, to not rely on something that is as comedy focused. It works better, I guess, in manga format, because you're not going to lose as many readers off of something like that, because they'll understand immediately what's going on, and they'll just wait for another chapter shortly after. In episodic format like this, people who are already unsure of the show, by the time they get to the third one and this is time to make their decision, if they don't find the things that they were, you know, on the fence about maybe comedy wise relevant in this one, they're gonna be like, it's already going downhill, and they're gonna drop it. So it's a interesting route for them to take, especially as the third girl for us to be introduced to, and throughout this third episode, as this is a typical dropping point for a lot of people. And I just think that that's a fun way for them to do. Hopefully all of that kind of sounded cohesive enough and made sense, what I was saying. I just kind of spitting it out, but that's the initial thoughts and feelings I was getting towards a lot of that. Jumping right into the episode though, for the most part, I love the fantasy scale that we kind of do, or landscape here that we kind of build up, leaving me at least questioning what exactly this was, thinking, is this girl just kind of delusional and she's stuck in her own little world, which she is to an extent, right? But it showcases very early on, before you're really able to understand, that she's kind of self-inserted herself within this book, because it has all the lines and dialogue and everything that she is ever going to really need in life, learning this thing front to back and putting in the constant effort through it there. We're able to have our initial interaction, which of course doesn't go exactly as planned, because we figured out that she can't really, you know, speak or do anything. She feels bad. She's not useful, right? He's just looking for a book, or he's just trying to do this thing, but she can't help him at all, because she literally can't speak and actually ask him what he wants, or can't actually explain what it is that he wants. And he's struggling as well to communicate with her or find that common ground. I love the picking up the big books, right, and dragging everything like this over. Such a small girl being able to do that. I love her also finding a place like this. A library is a perfect place for a character like her to be, right? So a place that everybody's quiet. You don't really have to talk. You don't really have to interact with others or do anything, and everybody's kind of on their own. It's something that you can constantly get knowledge and insert yourself into these stories, or just kind of consume yourself with them, that you can kind of forget about for however long it is that you are reading them or doing whatever that you're doing here, and kind of forget about the world and the things around you and the things that you might feel like that you're lacking in yourself, or you're lacking within your life, and it's a perfect place for them to kind of throw her into here, which I think is great. I like the little cutaways here with them just constantly trying to look for things for cooking, and just using that as like ways to kind of break up what's going on with Shizuka and our situation over here as well. I love him reading the story as well, and the way that they animate it, and just a lot of just the quality of this is very, very strong, and they did not have to go above and beyond like they did, and that's something that's actually impressed me a lot throughout the entirety of the series so far. For something that's like this, typically they don't have to go as hard as they kind of are, making it actually visually really nice to look at. They just have to make sure that they nail the character models. Look at Rent a Girlfriend for prime example. The backgrounds and everything that they do is kind of, it's really bad actually. It's not good, but they nail the character designs, so all those moments are the focus, and that's all that really matters. Here they're like, we don't give a fuck, we're going to put you into a fantasy world, and we're going to draw a big dragon, and it's going to look great, and they do a great job with the lighting and everything else, and it just looks excellent, right? I love our interaction here where she brings the book. Of course she wants to keep connected connecting with him or keep that tie that they have to their relationship. We don't want to lose that at some point. So we have to constantly keep giving him more, keep feeding him more to a point. That's why we're going to bring in the sequels, because then we're going to lose this relationship or this connection that we might have at some point. I also like how they're so like oblivious to like what's happening because they're not paying attention and they're just arguing with each other for so long over it too. Rentaro really showcases that he's a great person though, for the most part, with what he's trying to do here and how he's just kind of communicating and trying to be friendly with this girl. Of course, after also here understanding that people don't really want her around and that she hasn't really been able to make friends and she's always constantly struggled, and him realizing that he feels bad for her like that, but he doesn't like pity her in a way and he looked down on her in any sort of way, and just he's not trying to do that. He just wants to be friendly and allow this person to experience the things that everybody else around her has, the people who can actually speak and the people who can actually, you know, communicate well with others, and he wants somebody who's probably missed out on that for so long to be able to experience the joys that kind of come with that, which I think is great because he's plenty capable of it and it doesn't bother him at all, which I actually really like. I love the sequence of her bringing it as well, and him not showing up for days to come grab another volume, which I think is great. That actually might have not happened here. That might have been a little bit later. But her seeing here, him being with all the other girls and stuff, and then it immediately goes through and it destroys her because she's like, I thought that I had a connection and a friendship and everything that I was building with him, but to him, I'm just one of my many friends, right? I'm not the exact person that I thought I was, like, or I don't have the value that I thought I did within his life. And of course, it causes her to break down. We see the moment of her getting bullied by these girls, of course. And then this moment, I couldn't make out if the person yelling is like a mom or if it's just somebody else at school. Regardless, it's really shitty that they come at her for whatever reason. I'm assuming it's kids at school or another girl that is at school. I love this. He brings in or makes this app that he overdid it and overcomplicated it. Of course, we could lose this and we could just translate in, you know, text to speech or whatever we have to. That's the easy route to go down. And it's the more convenient route. That's the route that we should have. But this causes such a strong personal connection and allows her to kind of keep the uniqueness that she had of, you know, this book and the familiarity that she had with it and the close connection and everything that she has that makes her, you know, she probably doesn't want to lose it. It's a part of her identity at this point after spending so long with it, after all these years. So now instead of looking away from it, I can actually use this, type in the page real quick, find the lines that I'm looking for or whatever, right? Like it's a very nice and simple thing that he spent so long doing, right? And translating into this, which is above and beyond I think she could have ever actually asked for, which causes her, of course, here to want to go out of her way and confess to him instantly. I also love his line of just like, you've never been able to like face to face really like look at people and communicate with them because you're always so busy like being in this book and trying to find your lines and the things that you're trying to say, that it causes you to miss that connection that you can have with people by making that eye contact and actually seeing them, right? And seeing and picking up on cues and stuff from their face and whatever it is, right? Just she misses out on so much having to do that. We end up in this beautiful situation where he ends up confessing to her as well, or accepting her confession, which I think is great. I love that she was able to, in that she was like, I'm not asking for anything in return. I know you have all this other things, but like, I'm truly grateful for everything that you've done. And it's impacted me so much that I actually just want to make sure that you're well aware of how I feel, for whatever reason. If maybe I read your situation wrong, what's going on, and maybe if I didn't, you know, just so that you are aware that there is somebody out here that really does care for you in those situations. So if you felt anything like that, maybe, you know, there's somebody else like me. The interaction with them is pretty fun to start us off, and how different each of them see. I like his declaration of, I'm going to go above and beyond now. I'm no longer going to, you know, just do what I was doing before. That's not going to cut it. I have to showcase that I have enough time and energy and love for all of you, that I can, you know, split it amongst you, but make you feel like you're not any less than you were previously when there was only two of you, which I think is a great way for him to kind of approach it. And then we lead to ED. So yeah, really great in my opinion, way of introducing a character, making it actually really hit and show a connection. And I'm very happy with the way that they approached this. I love that we were able to change the style up a little bit and not have to go straight comedy and actually have some substance to the things that we were witnessing here, which I think is great. I am concerned, as I've said before, how I don't like those characters too much, that the thing with Shizuka is going to get a little bit old after time, and I'm going to become a little bit uninterested. There's definitely room for comedy and things to be mixed in, with her using the voice and, you know, us messing around with that or whatever, but then it can just translate into like bullying and stuff, which could be weird, and I don't know if I'd like too much going down those roads. But we can also have some fun with different things. I think definitely opens the door for that, but it's still there that there's a chance that, again, gets really repetitive and boring, and I don't like her character as a result. Right now, I like her enough though, and I don't have any complaints or issues with it. It's just going forward where we're going to end up. So interested to see where that's going to head. Like this very much actually, and I'm very impressed with what we're able to showcase here, and especially through 3 episodes, what they've been able to accomplish. So if you liked it, all like and subscribe to me lots. May feel free to check out the other videos on the channel. Leave any comments with this episode or series. I'll be back for the 4th one next week. You guys have a good one though. Peace.